Hey, nice to have you with us again. The insurance renewal period is with us once again. Actually, for quite a few of you, it may already have passed. So we thought, let's just take a step back and take a look at various forms of insurance and try and get up to date and see if there's anything new happening in the market. Joining me in the studio is Nazeer Hoosen, Executive Director of PPS Short-Term Insurance, and Themba Baloyi, Executive Director of Discovery Insure. Gents, thank you for your time. Nice to have you with us. Let's start with you, Nazeer. PPS, explain to me briefly first what you guys do, and Themba, I'll come to you and ask you the same question in a moment.
Well, PPS is a mutual group,
right?
Started in 1947 by 7 dentists who were concerned about loss of income when they fell ill, and they started up this business, and it's been going since then. So for a long period, and it has expanded subsequently out of the dental field and the medical fraternity to cover mostly professionals in the country. So graduate professionals such as lawyers, dentists, doctors, engineers, accountants, etc.
So that's the market that you deal with?
That's the market really yours, yeah.
Okay. Themba, your side?
Yeah, on the Discovery side, we are a short-term insurance business.
Yeah. Basically
covering motor household contents, specializing on individuals at the moment, not going into commercial at all. So the business is born out of the concepts that exist within the Vitality Group structure, and we use that as a mechanism to create value on behalf of the customer. Okay, explain that to me now.
How does my Vitality point structure help me with your product?
Okay, so we've created a product called the Vitality Drive.
Yeah.
The purpose of the Vitality Drive is to measure how you drive, reward you with specific points.
How do you measure how I drive, Themba?
Okay, so there is a device that we've installed.
Oh, you put it in the car?
Yeah, so that device helps us, it becomes a scientific measure. So it doesn't become something that becomes debatable over time, whether you're an appropriate driver or not. A lot of people like to believe that they are better drivers until they see the data in front of them. The moment you've got the data in front of you, then you start realizing that I can improve. I can become a better driver than what I have always thought I am capable of achieving.
It's a very interesting concept, actually, and it's one of the things that Discovery's become very good at doing is measuring performance in various areas with their members to assist them to try and become preventative as opposed to becoming a statistic, whether it's in the medical field or, in this case, in the insurance field. You were busy trying to say something when I crossed to Themba there.
Sorry, I said here, our spectrum of products ranges from life insurance, short-term insurance, medical aid, and also investments.
Okay.
So that's the range of financial products.
I was going through, being the good financial person that I'm not, I was going through my household contents and motor vehicle insurance. I insure with one of the big insurers, but through a broker. And I found that my insurance premiums have actually dropped this year. Are the short-term insurers struggling? Are you guys desperate for business?
I mean, I think on your side, it's a much easier explanation. You've got a broker, and your broker's role is to go around shopping for the best rates on your behalf. So you would find that a good broker who understands where you are in your lifestyle and in terms of your premiums that you've been paying over the years can actually strike a better deal for you on your behalf. But what typically happens is that to counterbalance the equation, there's an element of claims, and the cost of claims and repairing of your vehicles or replacement of your items at home keeps going up. So a lot of people would expect that these things are depreciating over time, and therefore my premium should be depreciating. But unfortunately, that's not how it works in real life, because when I have to replace your vehicle, it would probably be more expensive than when you purchase that vehicle. The parts that we purchase today, because of the cost of inflation, the reduction of the value of the rand against the other currencies globally, that comes into play. So those factors, they come into the equation in terms of how your premium is calculated, but also your personal risk. So what we've done on the Discovery Insure side, we've specialized more on focusing on how you drive as an individual, with a view of saying, is Jeremy becoming a better driver? If he becomes a better driver, then we've got an opportunity where you could benefit from that. And I think in this scenario that you've just explained to us, your broker has done a great job.
I'm glad to hear that. I'll give him a pat on the back. Graduates, excuse me, working within that particular environment, is it correct to say that it's a little safer?
Well, the tendency is for them to be a better risk profile, i.e. they're a little bit more mature, probably a bit more safer risk, if I may call it that. So what invariably happens is that your risk profile with a graduate professional is marginally better than your general population.
Do we as South Africans push our insurance terms, conditions, and the policy structures enough? Do we get involved enough in insurance? Because to me, it's one of those things. It's a grudge buy. People hate buying insurance because it's a pain.
Yes, yes.
But do we then, having said that, start going through what's on offer and actually finding out what the best thing is for us, or do we just stick our heads in the sand with insurance?
Unfortunately, you're absolutely right. We tend to stick our heads in the sand, and it's even more so with the professional. Professional's got no time to look at all of these things. He's busy in his job or in his practice from the morning till night, and it is a grudge purchase. He just buys it, and invariably, and fortunately for a lot of them, they let their brokers determine what their requirements are and allow them to run with the portfolio, which is not a bad idea at all. It's actually a very good decision for them to do so.
So you would agree with having a broker who goes out on your behalf?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Well, of course, there are clients whose view is that I don't have time to meet with my broker, so I would rather do everything myself, self-servicing. I mean, you can see it with the advent of technology.
Yes.
People prefer to go to the internet, people prefer to make a phone call wherever possible. But I think there's still that risk that exists where an individual has gone to the internet, gotten the information, spoken to a consultant over the phone, but maybe never gotten into the details of the product in terms of the policy wording, understanding what's contained in that document. But I think the language that we're using as insurers going forward, it seems to be simplifying the understanding, making it easier for the customer to know what's covered and what's not covered, using simple terms. And I think that's moving the ball forward, just making it a little bit more accessible, because the accusation that the insurance industry has been leveled against us is that we are too complicated. Our customers do not understand the products. So for those... But
isn't that, Themba, and also Nazeer, you can come in here as well, isn't that sort of standard with everything to do with banks, insurers, anything where, I've just realized what it is, anything where they bring a lawyer into it, it becomes impossible to understand.
Well, remember, lawyers are my clients here.
But it's true. As soon as you can understand the forms, but as soon as you get to the terms and conditions and everything about that, it just becomes impossible.
Yeah. But Jeremy, to counter that, what has been happening in the industry recently is I think that the industry appreciates that and understands the difficulty that the consumer has with this thing, and so has the regulator. And what has happened recently, and the regulator, the Financial Services Board, and the National Treasury have realized that this is problematic, and they are embarking on a new piece of legislation called Treating Customers Fairly, commonly known by the acronym TCF, which is coming out within the next couple of years. And this piece of legislation is very encompassing across the board of all other financial services legislations in finding a way so that insurance companies and banks, etc., are treating customers fairly. And then that's a very important point there, in that regardless of what the contract says and regardless of what the terms and conditions are, is it fair to the customer, what you're doing? So we're going through a process right now through our entire business architecture, looking from the time we make contact with the client to the time we pay a claim, is all our processes aligned to the customer, to being fair to the customer. And I think it's going to be very interesting over the next couple of years what is going to emerge out of this. and how it's going to be applied across the industry.
Themba, are you guys happy with the regulation of your particular industry?
I think it's a give and take scenario. A lot would argue that it is too rigid, but you would also understand why it has to be rigid. It's got to protect the interest of the customer. But also it's got to have an element of sustainability. I suppose the regulation, the manifestation of our good regulation is still fresh in our minds with the advent of the financial crisis. We can see that we weathered the storm very well as a country.
Because we were regulated.
Well regulated,
Yeah.
tightly regulated. Maybe others would say at the expense of innovation. But the bottom line is that we've done very well as a country. And therefore, I mean, I understand your concerns about the availability of lawyers in any terms and conditions. I suppose those are designed to make sure that they can stand the test of time in the court of law. If they cannot stand the test of time in the court of law, then we've got a problem. We've got something that is flimsy, something that has got no basis. So that's where unfair practices, going back to the concept of treating customers fairly, that's where unfair practices start emerging, where you do not have something that's concrete on the table. So having a lawyer is not such a bad thing after all, because those are the people who say, listen, the value of what we are creating here, is it measurable? Is it something that can be deliverable to the customer? And I think TCF plays a significant role. I mean, as a business, Discovery had the opportunity to be in the UK some years earlier, and that's where TCF has been quite a strong thing. And we're trying to incorporate that into existing products and structures. And we've done quite a great deal of work in that respect. And the key question that we typically ask is, would I sell this product to my mother or to my grandmother? If I'm not comfortable to create a product that my grandmother can buy, surely it's not a fair product.